changing times, I've been saying for a long time, but I think we are getting into a very interesting era. You know, what are the drivers for managing energy? Now, we've had for some time the climate change agenda and the carbon reduction messages that go with that, but that's internationally is heading into an interesting area in that we're not likely to see a post-Kyoto agreement. There is talk of some co-national cooperation emerging between some of the bigger nations, but that may not happen until the middle of this decade. So the focus on carbon internationally is a little bit unclear, and that comes up very much in the international debate on the standards writing and so on. In the UK and in Europe, of course, we are still very much committed, and we've got our EU targets, and the UK has got its activities and its targets based around the low carbon future. We have, as you know, the European Emissions Trading Scheme. We have in the UK the CRC scheme. We're going to be hearing about a bit later on. So the carbon and climate agenda has been one driver, but of course the other driver is just eliminating waste and reducing cost. We take energy for granted like the air that we breathe, and it's often difficult to be justifying energy action on a cost-saving basis, simply because in many organisations energy costs are only a couple of % of operating costs, and there are other priorities. And so in a major user and energy intensive industry, of course, it goes without saying, but it can be difficult moving into the boardroom where costs are a relatively small proportion. And of course the forthcoming messages about price rises and so on are beginning to help trigger that action and that debate.